Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Jules. I've lost over 50 pounds, gained a lot of muscle and strength, reversed a lot of health conditions, pre-diabetes, insulin resistance. And today I'm going into my journey with GLP-1 agonists, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, otherwise known as semaglutide and tirzepatide. So if you are on a GLP-1 currently or are potentially thinking about going onto one, this is definitely the video for you. This is going to be the first part in a series of videos that I'm going to make on my GLP-1 journey. I have been on them now for almost 2 years and have a lot of experience to share. I'm currently in maintenance. So today we're going to go into why I started on them, and I'm going to take you through that journey up until I hit my goal weight. I've been maintaining now for over a year. I'm still on the Mounjaro or Zepbound currently, and I'll go through why in subsequent videos as well. So let's get started. Why did I start on this? Well, I'm going to tell you. It was the springtime of 2022 when I decided enough was enough. I was not happy with the way I looked, the way I felt. My blood work was not good, and that was very triggering for me to snap me into, I need to get healthy and I need to start doing this now so that I could feel better about myself now and also going forward into the future. So I had a really strong why at that point, and that was, and still is, I want to look better, I want to feel better, I want to have more energy, and I want to be around for my kids, my future grandkids. I want to be active, and that's not going to happen if I continue the way I am now. So I started to really dial in on my nutrition. I mean, I always ate healthy and lots of whole foods, but I did have my sweets. I was addicted to sugar, and I'm very much a chocoholic. I would have cookies at night as my treat. But I would still have, lots of vegetables and fruits and things like that. But, I was overweight. And how you can tell that you're overweight, or how I could tell I was not in the best of shape, is if you take your height and divide it in half. If your waist circumference is more than half of your height, chances are you have visceral fat around your belly, and that indicates insulin resistance and potentially pre-diabetes, which is what I had. I'm 61 inches, I'm 5'1", and my waist circumference at that point in time was 34 inches. So it wasn't healthy, and I didn't feel good. So in the spring of 2022, I started running. I started running 3 to 5 miles, 5-6 days a week, sometimes even up to 8 miles, and dialed in on nutrition. I did lose some weight. It took me about 4 or 5 months to lose 5, maybe 6 pounds, which isn't a lot in that time period. And in that time period, my doctor did suggest going on a GLP-1. She did suggest going on Ozempic. Didn't really know what it was. I maybe read one article about it at the time. It really wasn't out there at all like it is now. And I'm not really a medicine person, so I was very leery about it. And I said no, I didn't want to go on it. I wanted to give it a shot by myself, see if I could just do it on my own. But after that 4 or 5 month time period of putting in so much work and effort, and I'm sure many of you could relate to that, and I really wasn't budging the needle too much. I mean, 4 or 5 pounds, I had a good amount to lose. I said, hey, I'm going to give these things a shot. Whatever this is, I'm going to give myself a shot. So September of 2022 is when I started Ozempic. And let me tell you, in terms of symptoms, really, I've had none other than fatigue. That is the biggest negative symptom that I had at that point in time. And there's reasons as to why you would get fatigued. And I can go into that in another video. So I started on it, and all of a sudden the scale started to drop. I didn't change anything. I was still running. I was still lifting weights. I was eating the same, healthier. I'm still having some treats here and there. I was still having some sugar. And all of a sudden the scale starts dropping. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So that continued for the most of the year. And then I started to stall out. I decided to completely cut out alcohol. Wasn't feeling it anyway, wasn't enjoying it. And I have been alcohol free now since around the same time period, around October, November of 2022. Don't miss it. I also eventually cut out all sugar, and there's previous videos about how I went about doing that, and I'll discuss that in future videos as well. And I don't really miss that either. It was a gradual process, but I cut the sugar, cut the alcohol. That was a huge help in terms of dialing in on the diet. The other factor that I also did was I started tracking all of my calories, my food, my macros, my protein. I was ambivalent about tracking at first because I thought it would be kind of annoying and time consuming. But as I started to get into it, I realized it was a really good data point to know where I was so I can make, micro adjustments in case I stalled out or whatnot. And it really was actually easy. And I'm still doing it to this day because it's just a habit at this point. I actually enjoy it, and it takes minutes out of the day to do it. So if you're not tracking, it's something to consider doing in case you do need to make adjustments. Okay, so my initial goals, I definitely, wanted to lose body fat and gain muscle, and that's always been my goal and the results I was looking for. I've always been strength training. I continued running. I actually started to enjoy running, but then I got to a point where it really wasn't working anymore, and I stalled out for 4 months. No change on the scale whatsoever. I could absolutely tell inflammation had decreased, and I definitely had decreased body fat and increased muscle, but the scale wasn't moving. And after those 4 months, and I had maxed out on Ozempic, and I had gone to Wegovy, so I was at the maximum dosage for that. My doctor suggested that I try Mounjaro or tirzepatide, which is a dual agonist. So the Ozempic Wegovy is a single agonist. The other one, the tirzepatide, is 2. So it acts on 2 hormones in the body. And so I went on to Mounjaro, and that definitely kickstarted things again. Again, no negative symptoms whatsoever. I don't know if I was lucky or whatnot, but I've always eaten really healthy, and I knew not to eat junk food or super high fat foods because I thought that would just distress my gut. And I never really had any issues unless I had too many vegetables. That might have caused a little bit of distress, but I really can't complain about anything. So if you are having any sort of distress or are scared because you've heard stories of people, chances are those people either may have had some issues before this all started and somehow it got triggered, or if you're still eating junk food and highly processed foods, that's definitely going to distress your gut. So I definitely urge you to focus on the whole foods and protein. That is the easiest on your system. So what does a GLP actually do? I've done so much research on this. And as many of you may know, it reduces your appetite. It does slow down gastric emptying, but that's not it. It doesn't make you lose weight just because you're eating less food. Yeah, you are eating less, but we've all done that. We've all eaten less, and then your weight doesn't move. That happened to me before. So what else does it do? Well, it acts on the GLP receptors in your body, and you have them everywhere in your body, including your brain. And honestly, I don't think they 100% know exactly what it does, but in studies, they have seen that if people are not reacting to the natural GLP, you're a little resistant in that GLP production, that perhaps Supplementing with a GLP helps to bring you back up to normal levels, which then helps you to regulate your appetite and satiety hormones. Now, I know for me, that has always been completely irregular. My hormones have been a mess. My appetite and satiety hormones have been off the charts. What is knowing what is when you're full? That was always a tough one for me. I always had to just mentally push the food away. The other amazing factor is your cravings go away. Your obsession with food goes away. What some people call food noise. You don't even realize you have food noise until you don't have it anymore. And that's that obsessiveness of what am I going to eat? When am I going to eat? Am I going to feel satiated? And all of a sudden, you feel full. You eat something, you actually feel full like a normal person. And it's an incredible feeling. And you can move on to other things in your life and you don't think about food anymore. And until you don't think about it and it's something that just weighs on your head all the time, you don't even realize it. And I think for me, I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought, well, I guess this is me or there's something wrong with me. And it's just this constant buzz in my head that I have to think about. And yes, I've been an athlete my whole life. I was a competitive gymnast when I was younger. I competed as an adult. I had been NASM certified to be a personal trainer. I was a gymnastics coach. I've done boxing. I've been very athletic and I've always had muscle, but I also have struggled my whole adult life with my weight, with my self-image, with my appetite. And finally, now at the age of 53, I feel normal. I feel good. I feel in control of what's happening. My body's not out of control. And now all of the good things that I've implemented, the habit changes, the lifestyle changes, the behavioral changes, they're actually working. This peptide is, to me, kind of a miracle. And the more research I do and the more studies that come out on it, the more I am convinced that this is going to be potentially something people would use for longevity. And I'm going to go through that in some future videos as well, because it is truly amazing. And at this point, now I've been maintaining for over a year. I've put on muscle. It's much easier to put on muscle. So let me tell you one thing that I think is a complete non-negotiable when you're on this peptide. You must strength train. Because if you only go on this, whether you're on this or not, whether, being in a caloric deficit, you're on a diet, if you do not protect your lean muscle by eating enough protein and doing some strength training, you will lose muscle mass. And that is a disaster. Why is it a disaster? Well, it tanks your metabolism because muscle is expensive. So in order to keep it, the body raises the metabolism. So when you lose muscle, and if you don't do anything as you're losing weight, you could lose 25 to 30% of that weight loss could come from muscle, which then is going to lower your metabolism. So when you reach goal weight, you'll be a smaller version of yourself, sure, but your body fat to muscle ratio may be the same as before or potentially worse, and you're not going to look as good. Your metabolism will be lower, and it's not going to set you up for long-term health outcomes. So really, if you are capable of doing it, strength training, lifting weights is a non-negotiable. If you've never done it before, I recommend starting with twice a week. It's not that time consuming. You put in 15, 20 minutes twice a week, and you're going to reap so many rewards. You're going to at least keep your muscle mass so that the weight you're losing is just body fat. You're going to have a better body shape at the end. You are going to feel stronger. You're going to have more energy. And I know for me, lifting weights, it makes me feel strong and powerful. and I want to do it. And you're going to want to continue this. You'll see. In your journey, once you start, it's going to build. You may start with twice a week, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm going to add another day, or I'm going to add another 10 or 15 minutes, or another exercise, and you're going to start seeing the results. And for the first time in my life, I can see my muscles, and that is incredibly encouraging and motivating. So these peptides, the Ozempic, Wegovy, tirzepatide, Zepbound, and Mounjaro, all kind of the same thing. They help to create insulin sensitivity. What does that mean? It means that when you eat something and the glucose is in your bloodstream, it makes it easier for your muscles to take it up instead of it going into your fat. For people that are insulin insensitive, pre-diabetic, your metabolism is not so good, which is the vast majority of people in general, that makes it hard to lose weight and it makes it really easy to gain weight. So these just kind of help your body to get back to a healthy metabolic state. Now, one of the reasons why this is my first video talking about a GLP-1 was, quite honestly, there's a lot of negativity out there about using these. There is a lot of people that don't really understand how they work, what they do, or they look at other people and think, well, if you just cut calories and move more, that should do the trick. And everyone, people who don't do that are lazy. And it's just not true. And you know it, or you wouldn't be watching this video. I know it. I've never been lazy. I have an incredible amount of discipline. It just doesn't always work for everyone, especially when your metabolic state is effed up already. This helps to make it better. So right now I have been maintaining for over a year. My focus at this point is in building muscle and strength and adjusting to this new life, new body, as well as just trying to make sure that all the habits and the lifestyle changes are something that are going to be long-term for myself. And that is an ongoing journey that will never end. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you're on a GLP journey right now, how's it going? Let me know. I would definitely want to hear. I'm going to be making additional videos. There's going to be a whole series of these coming out. I have at least 10 planned that I'm going to post every week. Different topics on GLPs, what I eat, how I work out, best practices, things that you maybe should avoid doing. So if you're really interested in learning more, and again, I'm on these for almost 2 years at this point. I have a lot of experience. I'm still on it. I'm still on a weekly shot. I still eat a lot, even though I'm on it. And I would definitely love to have you tune in and listen and comment. And if you get anything out of this, please like it, subscribe to it. That definitely will help reach other people when you do that. And I really want to get the message out to people. Don't be afraid of these. If you are a candidate and you've tried everything, go on them. It's truly life-changing. Stay strong.